Alright guys, so I'm getting ready to show you a brand new build for Nell. Now this build is primarily designed to take out the storm hanger, but you will be able to take it into general content with a very quick tweak. Now before you click out, hold on. Now this isn't some sort of build that's going to require you to stand on one leg, pat your belly, rub your head, do a backflip, and drink hot sauce. This isn't some crazy off the wall build, but it will still get you between 40 and 50 second clears once you get used to the build and you get a little bit of practice in. I've played quite a few builds and I really prefer one that is consistent, as some of the other builds that I've created and played tend to have very wide differences in times if you mess up even a single part of their loop. But having said all that guys, let's go ahead and hop into the video. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the weapons as we always do, and for this build I'm going to suggest that you go ahead and bring in the Secret Garden. Now, when it comes to this weapon, the reason I'm showing it to you like this is because the build on it literally does not matter. You can put anything or nothing on this. The important part is that you have a 4-star version of this weapon. Anything else and it doesn't matter, so go ahead and put whatever quality of life you want on it. I personally like a bunch of sprint speed cores, that way I'm not getting hung down when I'm trying to move around. But again, it's entirely up to you. You're not actually doing any damage with this weapon. So when it comes to the reactor on this, we're going to go ahead and go with a non-attribute tech reactor. You do want to make sure you put the optimized condition on this. Do not mess up like I did on stream and forget to put it on there. Make sure you have the optimized condition, and it needs to be tac rifle. When it comes to the roll down bottom, we're really going to want to go with skill cooldown, and we're going to go with additional skill attack when we're going up against Colossus. This is going to give us a really nice boost to our damage. Now when it comes to the components, you're going to want to go ahead and use the Enlightened Mage set here. This is going to give you just a ton of non-attribute damage, and you're going to want that when it comes time to actually put in some work. Don't worry about the minus that you get here from the firearm attack, because none of that's really going to matter. When it comes to the rolls on this, use what you see on the screen here, and when it comes to the cores, definitely go with HP and defense on all of these. So when it comes to the inversion reinforcement, this is what we're going to be going with. We're going to be going with selective neurostimulation, Arche circulation tactic, and pain suppression. So when it comes to Arche circulation tactic, this is something that I typically shy away from. I don't really like cooldown mods or really anything that isn't constant. But because of how fast this fight is going to go, you will get a little bit of usefulness out of this, and being able to really spam R1s at optimal speeds is what we're going to want to go with. So definitely go ahead and put this on. Selective neurostimulation is just going to help with a little bit of the MP issues that you may run into. More than likely you're not going to, but this is just going to ensure that your MP stays topped up just a little bit to make sure you can burn this fight out. And then we went with pain suppression, which was just something for a little bit of quality life, just in case you do actually take a little bit of damage while you're in your skill loop. That way you don't die right on the spot. So for the Arche tuning tree, we're actually going to use a very standard skill critical hit Descendant build for the Arche tree. The main thing we're going to work on here is trying to get the gold skill power node on the right. We're going to go ahead and pick up the bonus skill damage versus Colossus. We're going to swing up and get the cooldown because we really need to have that in this build. Outside of that, that doesn't really leave us a lot of mobility. So we're going to swing to the left and pick up some skill critical hit damage. And then we're going to head up to the right and we're going to pick up just a little bit more damage with the fusion tech tuning. So that is what I suggest you go with when it comes to your Arche tree. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple things about this build right now. Typically, when you build a skill crit hit Descendant, most of your mods are kind of already picked for you. So on this build, 4 of our mods just focus around skill damage and skill critical hit rate. The other 2 major mods are going to be our cooldown, because this is a cooldown spamming build. And then we have an additional 2 cooldown mods on here to really get our cooldown as low as possible. So that is realistically 8 of the 10 mods that we have, and that doesn't really allow for a lot of build diversity. Now our main goal here is to be able to spam our skills, so we're going to go ahead and put strong mentality on, and that leaves us 1 additional slot. Now when I was building this on stream, I was using hyper focus. What I can tell you about hyper focus is it is a very good mod, and it will get you a little bit of extra damage. However, it is very easy to mess up your skill loop on this boss with hyper focus. But just know that I did try hyper focus, but what I found is it was very inconsistent. You had to spend your time trying to jump, trying to dodge, try to focus on getting your hyper focus buff up, trying to keep the storm hanger tagged with the mark, not missing your mark, because if you missed your mark, it was on a 2-second cooldown. All while he was dancing around, and all while you're trying to hit him with 1s and 4s and manage everything. It is an absolute nightmare. It's not to say that you can't do it, and I actually did it and was able to get a very low 40 time, but I think for most people, myself included, I'm not going to really enjoy that style of gameplay long term. So because of that, I actually opted for Dangerous Ambush, and if you do this fight, you'll understand why. You are doing so much damage that there's a really good chance that you're going to put the Stormhanger into his hanging position multiple times in a single fight. When that happens, he's not actually targeting you, so you should get a giant spike in damage. So I really like this just for the consistency, so that's why we actually went with Dangerous Ambush, and that is the build I would suggest you put on, just for consistency and ease of use. So I know that last explanation was kind of long-winded, but I did promise you that I would show you a mobbing build, and here it is. We really don't make that much of a change to this build. As I told you, there's realistically only 2 cards that we can change. So my main focus here was actually to go ahead and go with additional range. You're going to be using your 1 and your 2 when you mob, so having all that additional range is going to make your life much better. That's what we did here, and that's what I would suggest you put on this for the mobbing part of the build. Alright guys, so now I'm going to explain to you how to play this build, and this build is actually very easy to play. The first thing you're going to want to do is rush down to get under the Stormhanger. Once you get under the Stormhanger, you're going to want to give it a second and keep trying to hit your Eceive until you're able to Eceive target him. Once you have him Eceive targeted, you're going to go ahead and start spamming your 1s. Every time you hit him with a 1, you're going to get +2 to your bar down bottom. Your goal here is to fill that bar up, and it normally takes 4 hits of your number 1. After you fill that bar up, go ahead and hit your 5 again. Your goal here is to ensure that he's targeted before you let loose of your ultimate. After he's targeted, go ahead and hit him with your 4. After that, it is literally just rinse and repeat. You don't have to do anything else. Keep moving around this boss to avoid damage. Typically, I just move in a circle. While you're doing that, hit him with your 1s while he's deceived mark to build up resource down bottom. Once you hit him 4 times, go ahead and hit him with your 4. Now, once you start doing damage to him, he will stagger quite frequently. And when this happens, it makes it to where you don't even realistically have to move. And I'm not going to lie, this boss is kind of squirrely and it is easy to miss some of your shots. So being able to even take the part out where you have to move is just going to make your life easier. It's much easier to hit the target when that happens. And guys, that's honestly it. It's a rinse and repeat, and once you get used to this, you'll be able to do 40 to 50 second clears, no questions asked. Alright, so we've actually talked about what mods we need to change for the mobbing build, but we do need to change 2 more things. First thing you're going to want to change is going to be your reactor. We're going to use the same type of reactor, which is a tech reactor, and we're going to want it to have tac rifle on the mounting. But when it comes to the roll down bottom, we're going to want skill cooldown and critical hit damage. Now, as you can see here, I don't actually have that reactor. This is the same reactor we used from the prior build. But I did want to make sure that you knew that you want to go for skill cooldown and skill critical hit damage on your reactor. The second thing you're going to want to change is going to be your Arche tuning tree. So for this, we don't actually need the bonus damage for Colossus, so we're just going to go ahead and skip that. And we're going to swing down below and pick up the range. In the upper right, we're going to pick up non-at cohesion instead of the other mutated cell. This is going to benefit you more in a mobbing style build. Now, before I forget, I do want to show you one really quick weapon. So this is something you're mainly going to need on the Axion plains, as most other areas in the game do not have this issue. In the Axion plane, there will be some enemies that just have really heavy armor on them. And the best way to get rid of that is to strip it off with a weapon. So for that, I'm going to suggest you use one of our very general roll last daggers here. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the rolls, the cores, and the mods on this weapon all on the screen at the same time. Feel free to screenshot this and put it on your last dagger when you have time. So now in order to play the mobbing build, it is very straightforward. So when you move around the map, you're basically going to want to spam your 1s. Use your 1s to dispatch most enemies you see. If you see large groups of enemies, go ahead and throw your 2 down on top of them and give it a couple seconds. After a couple seconds are up, go ahead and just recast your 2. This is going to get rid of that 2 on the ground and do a bunch of damage to everybody standing inside of it. This is a great way to clear large groups of enemies, and then if anything is left alive, go ahead and throw some more 1s at it. And effectively, this is just rinse and repeat all the way up to the boss. Now, when it comes to the boss, things are going to be a little bit different. More than likely, you're going to have a bunch of stacks of your special resource by the time you get there. When the boss spawns, go ahead and deceive mark him and then hit him with your 4. This will more than likely take him all the way through to the next phase. When he respawns, go ahead and deceive mark him and hit him with some 1s. Once you get a couple of your special resource stacked up, feel free to go ahead and use your 4 to finish him off. Alright guys, and that's it. That's everything you need to know about this Nell build. Now, I'm not going to lie, this build does take a little while to get used to. But once you get used to it, it is a very strong and very oppressive build, and it is a lot of fun to be able to go in there and sort of kick around the Stormhanger. So hopefully you guys enjoy this build and you enjoy the guide. Also, thank you guys for watching all the way through and making sure that you actually watched how to play this build. If you do not watch how to play this build, you are probably going to struggle and you are not going to get good times with it. This build will take you quite a few minutes to get used to, so make sure once you get it on, you get in there and you just kind of play the build, and don't be too hard on yourself. Just make sure you're enjoying it and trying to figure out the best way to make the build work for you. But if you did enjoy the content, consider liking and subscribing for more First Descendant content, as well as other game coverage in the future. I do stream 5 days a week as well, so if you want to get to know me and the community a little bit better, you can watch us either here live on YouTube or you can come over and watch us on Twitch. Having said all that, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.